Hey and welcome to Office Boy Builder. My name is Tom, great to have you here, and today we are going to be installing a DIY job. This is a simple bathroom radiator, but we've got a slight difference. We are installing a smart thermostatic radiator valve which allows us to control this from anywhere in the world so long as it has Wi-Fi. So follow along for the journey and see how to install a bathroom radiator. This is the family bathroom that we recently renovated. You see we did all the herringbone tile around here. We built this false wall which holds towels and toilet rolls and other bits. So that's really good fun. We still have stuff to do. So I still need to install the mirror that's going to go here. Still need to install the windowsill there. I did install a very small windowsill here, and that toilet area is pretty much done. Today we are focusing on this bathroom radiator here. So I'm going to be installing it. I'm going to show you what to do, how to do it. I've got some little bits. I'm actually going to put this on a smart radiator valve so I can control it with the rest of the house's central heating system. Typically bathroom radiators just have a valve that you turn on and off, but obviously most of the time you don't want to have to come into the room 40 minutes before it needs to be used to heat it up to then be able to use it. So I wanted to put it on a smart one instead, which is great. So we're going to dive straight into this. I'll show you what we're doing, how we're doing it. I'll spin you around, let's get going. So when I installed the pipes and everything, or the kind of first fix for this, I marked on here the flow, which obviously means the other one is the return. I have isolated the system, I have switched it off at the boiler, and I have actually drained down some of the pressure. So it should mean that when I take these caps off, nothing comes spraying out. But being in a bathroom, I do have some towels ready and available, just some rags, just to catch any extra drips, because I've obviously done all the flooring and the painting. This radiator is currently upside down, but it's 110 centimeters high, so it's going to stop probably just around here, so well below the light switch, which is fine. That is not an issue for anybody who says, oh, they can't be next to each other. They can, they're absolutely fine. The other thing that I did when I built this wall, because obviously the light cabling runs up and down, and I've got to be careful about the fact that this is going to have some brackets to hold it in place, I put all of the cabling for this behind an additional layer of protection in trunking. So the cabling is protected, and I am therefore protected, and anybody else that works on this in the future will be protected. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set you down, I'm going to grab this out and show you, gently, show you what comes in the box, what you get, and the bits that I have bought in addition. Right, so in here, carefully opening that one, it's quite nice, they put this around it to protect it from getting scratched up. So in the box, what have we got? These basically are just the brackets to hold it to the wall. This is important to know because it does not come with radiator valves. You have to buy radiator valves separately. So this is just a regular thermostatic radiator valve, and the lock shield, you can buy these. This costs like a $5 off Amazon. You can get it from plumbers merchants anywhere. That's really easy to get. The other thing that I have bought in addition to this is this here. This is a smart thermostatic radiator valve, which effectively replaces this unit here. It allows me to control it via my Wi-Fi on my phone remotely. So if we're traveling home and we're tired and it's hot and cold and we want a bath, I can warm up the room connecting to this, and I can plug this in. This comes with a couple of batteries and stuff. These are about 60 quid each. If you buy them in bulk, you can get them slightly cheaper. So that is very handy. You need to buy these separately. Radiator valve, and if you want the smart one, you can get the smart one, but you don't need it. This will do fine. So what comes in this box? When you open it up, there are a couple of bits in here. There's obviously that little red unit, which I don't need. And then these are the actual valves themselves. Now I got ones specifically that stand upright. So the water passes up through here, and then I can attach the thermostatic radiator valve to this. And then the lock shield one sits on the other side. And again, these aren't actually directional. You'll see there are no arrows on this. So it's not the end of the world, but I'm going to have them both facing inwards on either side of the radiators. This screws up into the underside of the radiator, and this bit attaches to the pipework at the bottom down here. So it's very, very comprehensive what you get. We went for chrome because everything else, or the rest of the radiator, is chrome. So that's good. So this one will actually sit on the top here like this, going up into the radiator and down into the 15mm copper pipework. Another thing that is important is that unless you've done this quite a few times before, you're going to want to read the instructions. They have quite a good kind of recommendation of layout for marking and how to get the lugs in place to be able to hold the radiator. Yours will come with those, so make sure you read them and stick to them. I'm going to move the radiator, and then I will basically make sure that there's no water pouring out of the system. I'm going to do the return side first. Yep, so no water came out. Air actually was being sucked in here because what I've done is I've left the pipe open with a bucket underneath it. What I'll go and do is I'll just go and show you that now. Just so you can see, I'll check the flow, but there shouldn't be anything coming out. Nope. So we're all good. Let me show you what I've done downstairs by the boiler. So I have this bucket here with a spanner. What I can do now, you can see where some water has splashed, but the bucket has caught the worst of it, which is great. I can now close this off here because all the pressure has come out. That doesn't need to stay open anymore. You need to check with your system what your requirements are, how you drain it down. But I would encourage having a couple of buckets just in case. On the top, this is the top side of the radiator, you have this, which is the bleeding valve. You can see the hole there. And then you've just got a cap on this side. They come loosely screwed in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take them off and I'm going to apply PTFE to both sides of them, just to make sure that there is no possibility of water leaking out through the threads. They've got these good little kind of nylon washers on the top, but best practice is still to wrap them in PTFE tape. I'll show you that now. Really is very, very easy. It takes no time at all. Get the cap or the bleed, get some PTFE tape, find the start of the roll like this, and then gently roll it around like this. And just give it a pull, separate it, and then rub your fingers around it like that. And that's now done. And when you come to install that, you can screw it on. That'll go on nice and easy. So I'm going to do that to the other sides. I am also going to make sure, I showed you before, this is the lock shield. This bit goes into the bottom of the radiator. So it goes this way up. This screws into the bottom of the radiator, and then with the olive and the nut tightens up onto the bracket here, onto the valve here. I'm going to be putting PTFE tape on this side and on the other side of this one as well, where the thermostatic radiator valve goes. So every time you have threaded connections, always wrap them in PTFE tape. So I'm going to do that now, just that it's done. I'll do all four of them at the same time and I don't have to think about it again. All four of these are now wrapped in PTFE. So there's those two and these two. They are fully wrapped in PTFE tape. I'm going to install them now. So I just remove these two. I can install them. They are not handed, so it doesn't matter which side goes where. You can just pull them into the bottom, screw them up, and you can put a little bit of cloth around your pliers in order to tighten that up, or your spanner, so that you don't damage the copperware with these teeth. I tend to use one of these because they leave less marks and you can grip nice and tightly onto the unit like that. On the one side that I have the smart thermostatic radiator valve, on the flow side, on the opposite corner, I will have the radiator bleed valve, but it doesn't overly matter. Okay, it's worth pointing out on these, they don't bottom out. If I kept threading, it would just keep going in. There's no bottom for this. So that's why you need to make sure you apply PTFE tape to all of it, nice and thick and even, and then stop at the point that this is flush and level. If you keep going, it will just continue and it will not bottom out. Depending on the constraints, right? So I have to make sure that I don't go anywhere near that. I'm going to have to think about the height of those pipes there, and I'm also going to have to think about the height of these here, and then the length of the radiator. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time now marking out, offering it up, and just figuring out within my space how much room I've got for it. Also, it's worth pointing out that these pipes were installed based upon the width of this here. So they are correct within probably 5 millimeters of each other, which is great. What I'm gonna do is make sure that I'm measured up now with the heights. I might put you on a time lapse just so you can kind of watch me do it, but it'll be a bit boring and fairly quick. Just to measure up, and then I will be offering up the supports and making sure that they fit. Like I said, behind the plasterboard of this wall, there is obviously the timber studs, but then I also put solid timber in a sheet of solid plywood all the way up to protect the cabling and also to make it easy for me to attach these wall brackets to. Right, so the pipe didn't quite fit, it wasn't in the right position, so I've added on some copper fittings, some of these. I'm not very good at soldering, so I use these pre-soldered joints. They are RAS approved, so that's all good. So I've put those on, and I've got the copper olive and nut there. Now what I can do is I can reattach this onto here, and then I can get the spacing accurate for how far in it needs to go. I can then basically attach it on here, and we're good to go. So what I'm going to do, this is the bit where it's all quite tricky, but I think I've got enough play on the pipe to be able to move it down a little bit and then bring it back up because of the clip. So what I will do is I'll sit that joint on there. It's the most fiddly part of it. It's not particularly enjoyable. So now, tighten these fittings up. Once I've tightened those, I can then kind of secure everything in. So that is now securely into the pipes. It is dead plumb, which is nice, and therefore level, which is good. So now what I can do is I can just make sure that we are happy this way. Basically in the bag, they give you a series of very, very small lug screws. And what you do is you screw them up into the plastic on the underside once you're happy with the level. There's a little bit of twist on it at the minute. There we go, that's better. And that's then pretty much it, that's it done. So what I'll do is I'll screw these up on the undersides. These caps get pressed on, and I can attach the smart TRV and then repressurize the system. So I'm just going to quickly screw those in now. I won't bother putting you on a time lapse because it's pretty boring. And then we can check the system. So this is now on. Thankfully there are no leaks. That's flashing because I need to pair it with the rest of the system. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. This is the bleeding valve. So you can hear air rushing out of this. That is because, I can show you, there's air rushing out of it because the radiator is filling with water. I have the top-up valve open at the boiler to help push this up. Soon this is going to start spurting out, so I'm basically going to keep that very close to being on because it will end up spraying all over the wall like that. So that radiator is now full. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly nip downstairs and switch off the mains. But this is quite a good way of testing actually if there are any leaks, because this is now at mains pressure. Just mopping up where the bleed valve was, just to make sure, but I think it would present itself pretty obviously. You'd hear it and see it if there were any leaks. Oh, and it's actually already warm. That's hot water coming through there. So that is getting nice and warm. Right, so that is a very quick DIY tutorial on how to install a bathroom radiator. Oh, the other thing that I tested while I was off camera, but I'll show you while I'm here, just in case you're concerned. So when I'm sat here on the toilet, my leg is not getting burnt, and I'm 6'1", 6'2" with a Cuban heel. So you will be able to see that is nicely installed there. And because of this Drayton smart thermostatic radiator valve, we can control it remotely. Hope you enjoyed that. Please do like, follow, subscribe. Go back and watch the rest of this bathroom renovation and refit, and all of the rest of the stuff that we've done around the house. We'd love to have you here. See you on the next video.